So we look at the excretory system. Your job is to identify some of the diseases that um, identify some of the diseases that affects excretory system. And of course, you know, when you can't pass your urine, they will put you on a machine called the dialysis machine. So you have to know how the dialysis machine works as well. All right. All right. So you have to know so if you have a picture like this, you print a picture like this. This is what you're going to study. You print a picture. So you don't have to have something big and bold in your house. You can have a picture like that, but don't label it. Why am I saying not to label it? When you don't label it, it is forcing you now to identify the, sorry, it is forcing you now to identify the structures from your head, right? So that's one method you can use, right? That's
Yes,
one.
sir.
So that means when you go into the exam, and if you look at your quotation past paper questions, you'd have seen, oh, good night to Shanique Campbell. Good night to you, ma'am. Good night. No, that's not the lungs, Miss Campbell. So you need to do some studying. No. So you're going to find, and it's otherwise called the urinary system. Good. Now, of course, these two are the kidneys. And I'm just teaching how to revise, to make revision more active learning and more easier to deal with. Good. So you print a picture like that, and you have it in your scrapbook or your notebook. And you say, all right, these are the kidney. This is the ureter. This is the urinary bladder. And this is the urethra. Good. Fine. And let me show you. Let's do this something. All right. So here we go. So here's a labeled one. And you're supposed to know it. You're supposed to pick it up for yourself, right? Now, so you have to know now that the renal artery is this one. You have the other one, the renal vein. Good. Now, so after identifying the structures, you must be able then now to speak about their functions. What is it they do? But for some objectives, they wanted to relate the structure to its function. Good. Now, the tubes, which is the ureter, are narrow for a reason. Because when something is narrow, the speed at which the fluid passes is even great. The pressure is greater. But now, there's a reason why I have the renal artery and the renal vein. One of them is carrying blood from another area of your body, and one is carrying blood back to another area of the body. Now, because you have gone through the lesson about the circulatory system, you will know what the function of the artery is or the function of the vein is. The reason why it's called renal artery is because blood, the kidneys are renals, basically renals, right? And if you go to KPH and the person have a urinary problem, they will go to the ward that is called renal. Is that clear? Now, let's test your knowledge of. Let's test your knowledge of let's test your knowledge of, say, what does the arches do? What does the arches do? Tell me what the arches do. Anybody can know what the arches do? What's the function of the arch? And persons who are watching on YouTube can also participate and put your answers in the chat. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, then you will not be, well, I think you'll be able to still put your answers there. So let's put your answers in the chat.
Sure.
Go ahead, Benji. What's the function?
It carries oxygenated blood from the heart to the body.
So, the artery carries blood away from the heart to the body.
Mm-hmm.
What does the vein do?
Oxygenated blood.
Come again?
The blood. Oxygenated blood.
Okay, then. And what does the renal, what does the veins do? What veins does?
The vein bring the blood to the heart. Or
Does the heart.
yeah, so the opposite.
Okay. So how you learn that? Where you learn that from?
So the video.
Okay. Well, you said you want to tell a lie and I said that's your business. Okay. Now I want you to Google the function of the renal artery and tell me what it says. Google the function of the renal artery and tell me what it says. Google the function of the renal artery. Then we're going to go inside of the kidney next. We look at the inside of the kidney and speak about what happens inside of the kidney. But go to the Google and tell me what's the function of the renal artery.
So it supplies the kidneys with blood.
All right. So it supplies the kidneys with blood. So if it supplies the kidney with blood, what does the word supply there so mean?
It gives.
Feed the kidney or provide.
Wait, hold on, one at a time. What was you said, Nastasia? Go ahead, let me hear what you said.
No, I would say it feed the kidney with blood.
Feed the kidney with blood. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What
Or provides blood for the kidney.
What were you saying, Basic?
Same thing, sir.
Same thing. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So you notice the difference? When you go and you Google it, you saw the word supply. When you want to show understanding, you don't use what the word supply. You use what a synonym for the word supply. Put it in your own words. So when you, and that's what I'm saying, when you guys do an assignment and you go Google the answer and you give me back what the Google said, me no matter what market. You must put the thing in your own words. And by putting the thing in your own words, you will remember the information much better. Right? So again, that means then the artery from the circulatory system is still carrying out the same function, carrying blood from the heart to the kidney. Make sense? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what does the renal vein do? What's the function of the renal vein? Google it and tell me. Function of the renal vein.
It carries blood from the kidney and the urethra to the inferior vena.
Of the what?
Vena cava. So,
Vena cava.
so yeah.
So where do we find that vena cava right here? The vena cava is related to what? Which organ? Read back what it is to that one.
find it.
Read back to this.
So the main blood vessels that carry blood from the kidney and the ureter to the inferior vena cava, a large vein that carries blood to the heart from the lower part of the body.
Lower part of the body. Good. So again, the vein is carrying out its function. It's carrying back blood from the kidney to the vena cava. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
You know the function now. So here, when you say renal vein, because you know what vein does, the answer. When you hear artery, you know what arteries does, the answer. Good, but it's blood from the kidney. So the word renal there is now used as an what? Adjective. See it now? And the word artery there is now used as a what? Noun. And the word renal is, and again, is now used as an adjective, and the word vein is used as a what? No. So the renal is describing what this artery does, carrying blood to the kidney. The renal vein is describing what the vein does, carry blood away from the kidney. Make sense? So easy that was. All right. So we're gonna go inside of the kidney, but before we go any further, look up for the function of the urinary bladder and tell me what that does. What's the function of the urinary bladder? What's the function of the urinary bladder? What's the function of the urinary bladder?
So it stores urine.
Come again?
Stores urine.
Stores urine. Right.
Yes.
That was easy. That was easy, don't it? Stores urine. Very good. So that was easy, don't it?
Yes.
All right. No. No. Stores urine. Very good. All right. Now we have to also look at urinary formation. How is urine formed? Good. But we're gonna go, before we go to how urine is formed, we're not going to go now to function of what happens inside the kidney. So let's look at a picture and so forth. So when you have it blank now, it's like you start to talk about now what happens inside of the kidney. Now there are some structures in the kidney now. Good. Let's look at another picture. Before going further. This is just pictures that we use now. Pictures. No. All right, let's go on now. All right. Now, there are other labels out there. Renal cortex, capsule. We have a picture like that. The issue right here, you don't know exactly what diagram, how the diagram is going to look in the exam. And that's why it's good to have pictures, right? So we're looking at a cross section of the kidney. And they show the outer edge of the kidney is called the capsule. And the inner area right there, as you can see right here, is called the renal cortex. Good. So we're going to now go deeper now inside of that. Let's look at this diagram. This is just pictures, you know. Once you can identify the structures, state the function, because human and social biology is really about structure and function. Make sense? And the sociology part of it comes in diseases, mainly diseases, and how it affect the individual. Right? Now, so moving on further. Good. All right. Now the nephron. But well, there are other structures called the medulla. Right? You have to know how to find the medulla. And as you can see now, this particular structure here is called a nephron. And most of the function of the kidney relates to the nephron. So we're gonna go now, we're gonna now dig deeper now and look at the nephron in depth. Right? Look at the nephron in depth. So we can see more about the nephron. Let's look at the nephron. So we can find a picture about the nephron. Stop sharing. Then I look for a picture first. You have to understand all this thing. They don't come back again in my class and tell me. All right, and diagrams are very good to use. Diagrams are very good to use. All right. All right, so here's another diagram. You're going to once again tell me. You're going to once again tell me the functions. That's your job. All right, so let's look at this diagram now. I can share it. So 1 second here. All right, so here we are. So once again, diagram. And I wouldn't label it if I were you. I will just have a picture, but study the names. Because it's very important to note, right? Good? Right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, of course, each structure has a function. And I'm getting showing you how to study to make this thing more easier for you to learn and, do your thing. Right? Now, one second. All right. Now, so we're gonna go further. I want you to know, tell me what happens. Look for look, Google and find the function of the glomerulus. And tell what's the function of the glomerulus. What's the function of it? What happens there? When you find it, let me know. And persons on YouTube, tonight is really looking at how to study, how to prepare for your exams. And this is just a way we're just talking about not just the reading like that, but you have pictures unlabeled, meaning not labeled pictures, to help you to be able to identify structures. And then after you name the structures, you also move into talking about the function, what it does. Good. And then now we talk about the diseases now that are related to the system that we are actually studying at the given time. So it makes studying more easier and even more attractive, right? Make sense?
All right, sir. This says as blood flow into each nephron, it enters a cluster of tiny blood vessels, the glomerulus. The tiny walls of the glomerulus allow smaller molecules, waste, and fluid, mostly water, to pass into the tube. Large molecules such as protein and blood cells stay in the blood vessel.
Okay. So that means then, so what do you understand from what was read about?
Sir, it filters the kidney, sir.
Come again?
It filters the kidney.
Filters the kidney. All right.
Yes.
All right. Where you got that in?
Google, sir.
Google a while ago?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
You notice what you read a long lengthy thing a while ago. And that's
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
just get to the point. It filters the kidney.
So
So
it's like a strainer. Mm.
good, it works like a strainer. Exactly. It works like a strainer. Now, you also know you also know you also know that you mentioned tiny blood vessels. And as you can see, the pictures tells you. And the tiny blood vessels, what are the tiny blood vessels called? What do we call it tiny blood vessels? Did I've studied that did I've learned of that in circulatory system? What's the name of the tiny blood vessels? What's the name of the tiny blood vessels? What's the name of the tiny blood vessels?
Sir, capillaries, sir.
Capillaries, good. All right. Now, and I said to you, when the tubes are narrow, the pressure is actually greater, right? So basically, and you know now that you know now that you know, right? you know that protein and etc. would not get there. But so you need to know what are some of the particles that can actually pass through those tiny blood vessels. Good? Make sense? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, we soon look at the function of the other parts and what takes place there. Good? So look at the function. Now, I want you to understand now where the classes are concerned. And this is what I was saying to you. This is what I was saying to you. That when you watch the videos and you have the pictures, you say, oh, this is what happened right here. So your diagrams, you do your thing. When you come to the class, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be just asking you questions. You just answering, doing a presentation. Yeah? Follow? Should be doing things like that. You should not be coming to the class learning about this for the first time. Should not be. But fine. But I just want to make the point, the value of doing what you're told to do. All right. All right. Now, a particular activity takes place right there in the glomerulus. Anybody identify the name of that activity?
Sir, ultrafiltration, sir.
Ultrafiltration. Right? Ultrafiltration take place right there. So. Very good. Now you want to describe what ultrafiltration is? You want to read about it and tell us?
Sure. Basically, that is when it's trained. So that's where it's this training take place.
Filtering.
So yeah, or filtering.
But you can use the word training.
Filtering. So it separate useful waste substance from the others.
From the others. All right.
So like glucose or water
and salt.
Yes.
All right. The question now. You mentioned water. So before we go to that, one of you research and make mention of, because these particular structures are commonly asked about, proximal convoluted tube and the distal convoluted tube. Tell me what happens at the proximal convoluted tube. Describe what happens at the proximal convoluted tube.
So sir, I would say that is when the water or the salt move from And from the filtration.
Who moves from bone and scalp. So you have to look at the name of it. So I just put that on the diagram. Because when you're talking now, you're mentioning the structure. When you're writing, you're processing the exam. And there's a component. There's a component that's new to us these days. Paper 3 for HSE. We never know about it till January. You understand? Good? So you have to name the structures then when you're talking about it. You follow?
Oh, sorry. So this is like when it go in the small veins them.
No. Basically, what does that mean? Collects the filtrate. Collects the filtrate. And some form of absorption, reabsorption might take place right here. No. All right. So as you can see on the picture right here, so, but you still have to know the function of it, right? As you can see the picture right here, the renal artery carries, as you have learned, as we mentioned in the previous picture, the renal vein carries oxygen depleted blood or oxygen without or blood without oxygen. Good. You should have learned that as well. Now, please to look at the. Tell me what happens at the distal convoluted tube now. What happens at the distal convoluted tube? Then what happens at the distal convoluted tube? What happens there? The distal convoluted tube.
Distal. Let me see.
Distal convoluted tube. What happens there? So? What happens there? So? Just research. So I would advise you. I'd advise you to I'd advise you to get some pictures. You don't have to be colored. You can be in a black and white. Understand, Nastasia and Bezu? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
All the things there. Right? If you can act out the whatever happened there.
So it says the fine-tune reabsorption of salt and water.
Reabsorption of salt and water. Right? So reabsorption of salt and water takes place right at the distal convoluted tube. Okay. Right? What about the loop of N? What happens to the loop of N?
Loop of N. Water observe.
Water is there. All right.
Yeah.
All right. But now there's a particular hormone that works along with deference that triggers off different activities in the kidney. I want to look it up now and find out which hormone triggers off activities in the kidney and what this hormone does. Basically, I have a class with them. Basically, I have
Which hormone?
which hormone? What's the name of the hormone that is associated with the kidney that triggers off activities in the kidney? It controls reabsorption of water. Whether the kidney will let out more water or is going to reserve the water.
Is it homostasis? That's all?
Almost movement of water.
Or the
Movement of water across the membrane.
okay.
Almost is basically takes place in the loop of air. But there's an hormone that's also. Right?
The antidiuretic hormone. Sir?
Go ahead, Desmond. Go ahead.
The antidiuretic hormone.
Antidiuretic hormone. Good. Antidiuretic hormone. Very good. What the antidiuretic hormone does?
Oh, chemical producer in the brain.
Again?
Cause the kidney to release less water.
Yes.
Decrease the amount of urine produced.
It basically regulates how the kidney releases.
Oh yeah. It causes the hormone to be secreted into blood. To absorb more water. It's too much in the blood. Okay.
Okay. All right. So you have to know about that hormone. But that hormone is associated with the regulation of water as well. Kidney. Good. So you know what happens at the loop of NL, reabsorption of water. What happens at the distal convoluted tubing? What happens at the distal convoluted tubing? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And it is also imperative that you know how the dialysis machine works. Sometimes the exam will come with that kind of situation. Get a picture of the dialysis machine and learn about how it works.
The dialysis machine actually filters a person's blood.
Yeah, basically filters the blood, yes. But you have to know how it works. Describe how it works.
Let's look for that. I think I have.
Good. All right. Okay. And some of the terms not necessary to know really. So we want to look at the formation of urea. You basically have an idea what the kidney is basically doing. We'll say we can look at the formation of urea.
Urea.
Right? Let's see if we can find something more to it. There are several diagrams there that you can look up and read upon and so forth. So here's another diagram right here. And this diagram basically tells you a bit more, right? persons on YouTube that want we're not using possible questions. We're looking at strategies to revise and prepare for any question that comes in the exam. That's exactly what Mr. Bernard is doing right now. Right? So he's doing. All right. Now, if you look at the arrow here, it purple, it speaks about the filtration. Blood lumen, right? Empty space. Now, R says that there's reabsorption taking place. Good? So we see that reabsorption takes place at the proximal convoluted tubule. So you probably want to ask now, what is being reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule? You can look at that. What is being absorbed at the proximal convoluted tubule? What is being absorbed? And I can tell you if you look for pictures, these diagrams will actually tell you. So you have to be reading a long paragraph from that. That is not necessary. All of that is not necessary. Right? The people try to memorize and no, not necessary. Right? When you have knowledge, you're able to now use knowledge to answer certain exam questions. When is the exam again, please? Remind me.
Wednesday, which is the 8th.
Tomorrow night, then we can look at. Tomorrow night we can look at answering use of knowledge questions. It's to spend the rest of the night. Just hold on. Your job is do what I am doing now. Identify pictures for each system that you have to study, and look at and try to identify the structures and try to write down the phone head in your own words. Take it out of the way. Look at the diseases affecting each of these systems and how the disease affect them. There are some level better. All right.
We're not going to get paper 1 until the 20th.
That's all right. We're not with my paper 1.
Paper 3.
All right. So reabsorption takes place in some form of secretion. So what is it? What is that being reabsorbed at the proximal convoluted tube? What did you found that out? What has been reabsorbed there? And secretion also takes place there as well. And we can see the different areas of reabsorption takes place. So reabsorption takes place at the loop of NL, reabsorption of water. Reabsorption also takes place at the distal convoluted tubule. Reabsorption also takes place at the collecting duct, which is right here. Good. And when this is being reabsorbed, it really means going back into the what? Blood and taken away by the renal what? Vein. Make sense? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So we can find it. All right, so let's look at diagrams and how you can use diagrams to make study much more easy for you. Right? You have to be reading a lot of textbooks and blah 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 blah. Not necessary. All right, so here's a diagram that really gives you a bit more information. I'm sure if you can see it, but we are seeing some things here. So filtration in the glomerulus, blood plasma, and the dissolved substances get filtered into the capsule right here. And then reabsorption now, all along the renal tube, collecting duct, water, and ions and other substances get reabsorbed from the renal tube lumen into the capillaries and ultimately into the blood. So you have ions like salt are reabsorbed, especially distal convoluted tubule. That is being reabsorbed right there. Good. You have to know what is being reabsorbed. So you can make mention of that. All right, so it's now 9:30. And whenever the information is sent out about classes, you have to try and register for the class on time so that you can log in easy. There are sometimes might have internet issues, but still try to log in easy so that you can make more time. So your job then is to get your pictures of each system, pictures of diagrams of each system, and use it to help you in your studies. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, we end up. So my question to you, did you find this session fruitful or not? As usual. I
Yes, sir.
guess because we're expecting to see past paper questions, but I think it's better to use the pictures, diagrams, and identifying structures. State their functions. Once you have to state their functions, you have learned a lot about it. Because even with COVID, the COVID disease, which is a respiratory illness disease, you have to know how your lungs work. You have to know, I mean, what really causes person to not be able to breathe, just like asthma, is when there's a high level of secretion of mucus coming into the respiratory tract. And when that quantity of mucus gets thick and thick, that's why they say it feel like glass because it's so thick. That's why it's you understand? We have to understand how the structure works normally. Then you now understand now when it becomes abnormal, it's diseased, and what really happens right there. Now, when it comes down to, as we close, when it comes down to use of knowledge questions, you're basically trying to identify the issue with the structure. And then when you identify the issue with the structure, now you're going to say why, just like when a doctor goes, a patient goes into the hospital, you go to see a private doctor or what's where our public hospital, our private hospital. The doctor going to ask you what's happening to you. Why? But the doctor wants to identify your signs and symptoms. Based on your signs and symptoms, the doctor now can deduce from that to tell you what is happening and why it's happening. Then the doctor is able to now make a prescription. That's it. If the doctor is not sure and you're not sure, the doctor is going to let you do a what? A test. And the test now is to determine, is to help determine the cause of illness. Why am I seeing these signs? Why am I experiencing these symptoms? Make sense? Make sense? So you have to have the knowledge.
Yes, sir.
You have to know what is, why, when this happens, where this happens, how this happens, to give you a full understanding of what is happening. So it's not past papers that make you really pass exams, as some persons may say. That is not true. Once you, the first person to do the first exam ever, did they ever pass paper? No, they didn't have one. They had the knowledge though. They knew how to use the knowledge. Simple. So tomorrow night we look at constructing your responses to exam questions. How do you go about constructing a response, the responses to the exam questions, so that you can write your answers fluently and get those full marks. So your job now is to spend the rest of the night focusing on how, getting these blank pictures, identifying the structures, finding out the functions of these structures, and relate them to diseases. Simple. That's it for tonight. I can only give you the instruction, but if you fail to follow them, that is on you. All right? So have yourselves a good night. And I'll tell my YouTubers, have yourselves a good night, those on YouTube, and you're expecting to find past paper. But tomorrow night we look through past papers and look at how we respond to past paper questions, how you go about structuring your responses. But tonight, if you want to join us tomorrow night, get your blank papers, Of course, when you get your blank papers, you're going to identify the structures, note the functions, get ready for tomorrow. So you two have yourselves. Goodbye, Nastasia, and goodbye again, Mr.
Sir,
Ma'am, go ahead.
the N11